I used to abuse Jasmine, and now I realize that I was wrong. I was a kid around 10 or 12 when I got my Jasmine, my dog. She was not trained, and it was my duty to train her. I grew up in a family where beating was seen as acceptable if there was a justifiable cause. We were old-fashioned that way. I was born in a country where dogs were often beaten and even eaten at times until I came to the US. Anyways, I got my dog, and she, for the first few years living in our house, would not stop urinating and defecating everywhere in the house. At some point, I thought that this problem would be fixed if I beat her. So, every time she would poop in the house I would beat her, sometimes I would beat her bad. Eventually, she stopped. However, as time passed on, I escaped my parents' and culture's antiquated ideas. I learned that dogs are like people, and my dog quickly became like a younger sister. Ever since I came to this realization, I have never laid hands on her ever. I feel so much guilt by what I did in the past due to my ignorance. I apologize to her every day, and I treat her with a great degree of love for the remaining years of her life. We have grown closer now, and I hope that maybe, just maybe, she has forgiven me. Every time I see her eyes I feel guilt, but I love every day to seek absolution through her.
I had a needle stick injury and never reported it. Now I am freaking out in solitude. I'm a new nurse and am making mistakes. The culture at my work is to really put people through the ringer and scrutinize mistakes. So, I'm just always on edge. So the other week I was trying to draw blood on a person. I took the needle out because I couldn't hit their vein, and they started bleeding a lot. So I fumbled to get some gauze and I felt the needle stick my wrist. The patient didn't notice and I calmly left to freak out in the restroom. I saw that the needle stuck me through my glove and I was bleeding. I never reported it. I hope I don't catch anything.
I confess to be the one that was vandalized the restrooms when I was in middle school. I had been vandalizing the restrooms in junior high school. Done it multiple times. I broke the TP dispenser, broke the soap dispenser, spilled soap everywhere, ATP the restrooms, put super glue in both bathroom stall door locks, and main door padlocks, writing on the walls, clogging the toilets, stuffing cans, paper towel, shutting water valves, taking off metal cover plates, and I can't remember what else. I had fun doing that at that time, and messed the restrooms so bad that they called investigators. One day, I heard the two custodians talking. Custodian 1, someone's been messing the restrooms so bad. Custodian 2, yay, I was in the cafeteria when they said that. Overheard talked to them. They said they gonna get him next week in trouble, school officials. I was so scared for my life that I might potentially go to juvenile hall. I never went to juvenile hall even though they had fingerprints. I was lucky. My mother and I are lying to my father about my and my siblings' ethnicity. I know it might sound petty, but I need to write this out to someone, and I figure the anonymity of Reddit might help deal with my guilty feelings. So to begin, my father was adopted from birth. He never knew his birth family and never really cared to find out about them. He was raised by his adopted parents to always believe that he was Italian. Our last name is Italian, he constantly speaks Italian, and it's part of his identity. He's always believed he's 100% Italian. Also, there was no cheating between my mother and him. Just to get that out there before I continue. For most of my life, I've believed that I'm 50% Italian and some mix of European everything on my mother's side. Cut to recently, my sister got a crazy idea on her head that she wanted to know our ethnicity through ancestry DNA. For some reason, I was chosen to do it. So I did the test and mailed it. I got the results a few days ago. Come to find out, I'm not even slightly Italian. If anything, I'm mostly Irish and German, but not Italian in the slightest. The test showed my mother's side was accurate since I traced the records of her family to exactly where the DNA test said so. Obviously, I told my mother and her solution was we could never tell my father or siblings this. It would crush my father and I couldn't do that to him. So we just aren't telling them and hoping they forget about the test. However, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I needed to write this out to confess.